Hey everyone, and welcome back to The Explainer. If you're the kind of person who just loves tearing down the hidden structures of our reality, well, you are in the exact right place. Today, we're going to decode something truly mind-bending. We're looking at the seemingly impossible architecture of coincidence. We are going to completely strip away the supernatural, ignore the ghost stories, and reveal how the universe's most shocking, drop-your-jaw mysteries are actually just hidden mathematics. I promise you, by the time we wrap up here, the way you view randomness is going to be completely transformed. All right, let's jump right into section 1, the impossible Titanic prophecy. So picture this. The year is 1898. This is a full 14 years before the RMS Titanic famously strikes an iceberg and sinks to the bottom of the ocean. An author named Morgan Robertson writes this short novella about a massive, luxurious ocean liner that hits an iceberg in the North Atlantic and goes down. Now, on the surface, that sounds like a spooky coincidence, right? Maybe just a lucky guess? But the granular details Robertson included in that 1898 novella, well, that's where the true mystery actually lies. How exactly did he seemingly see the future with such terrifying accuracy? Now, this is where it gets literally unbelievable. Robertson's 1898 fictional ship perfectly matched the unimaginable weight of the Titanic. It matched the unprecedented speed the Titanic was traveling at, and, most chillingly of all, it matched the exact fatal lack of adequate lifeboats. Fast forward 14 years later, and the 1912 reality mirrors this fiction perfectly. I mean, when you look at those facts side by side, it feels like an undeniable psychic prophecy. Our brains immediately want to categorize this as magic. But as we're about to see, there's actually a much more logical framework at play here. Moving right along to section 2, reframing prophecy as data. Okay, I want you to burn this term into your memory, extreme edge data extrapolation. This is our crucial pivot point today. We are taking the whole concept of prophecy and completely reframing it. You see, when someone appears to predict the future with uncanny accuracy, what they're often actually doing is simply analyzing high-level probabilities and logically extending them out to their absolute breaking point. It is not magic. It's extreme edge data extrapolation. Let's look at Morgan Robertson again. He wasn't a psychic, not at all. He was actually a highly experienced sailor. And because he'd spent years at sea, he had built up this massive internal data set about how ships operated. He deeply understood the era's safety failures, specifically the catastrophic flaw that lifeboat regulations had literally not kept up with ship sizes. On top of that, he recognized the shifting shipping trends. He saw these companies racing to build massively heavy ships and pushing them at reckless speeds through dangerous ice-filled routes just to set records. So Robertson didn't gaze into a crystal ball. He just did the math. He extrapolated a logical, almost inevitable disaster based purely on the real-world data he lived and breathed every single day. Now, let's shift gears a bit for section 3, the eerie Jim twins. Imagine two identical twins, separated at birth, adopted by entirely different families, who never even met until they were adults. Both adoptive families, completely independent of one another, decided to name their baby Jim. As adults, both grew up to have a childhood dog with the exact same highly specific pet name. And they both pursued the exact same highly specific career path in law enforcement. The statistical impossibility of it all just screams out at you, doesn't it? It feels like the universe is playing a trick on us. I mean, how can two strangers live the exact same life, right down to the name of their dog? But once again, science comes in and completely dismantles the magic trick. Identical genes can essentially hard-code similar life choices through genetic and environmental determinism. Think of it like a biological algorithm. If you have two humans with the exact same neurological wiring, literally the exact same biological hardware, and you place them in broadly similar environments, well, their brains are going to process inputs in the exact same way. The algorithm's output becomes highly predictable. That could be a phonetic preference for a specific sound when naming a pet, or a psychological desire for the structured environment of a law enforcement career. What looks like an eerie, impossible coincidence is really just genetic determinism running its course. Which brings us to our final section, section 4, the architecture of coincidence. Every psychic prophecy explained by high-level probability. That really synthesizes the core takeaway for today. What this whole framework shows us is that understanding this architecture actually makes the world more fascinating, not less.
We don't need supernatural explanations when the reality of high-level probability is just so incredibly elegant. When you have a massive enough data set, whether it's the shipping trends of the late 19th century or the complex genetic markers of identical twins, outcomes that seem totally miraculous are actually just the inevitable results of extreme edge data extrapolation. The universe isn't random. It is highly, highly structured. Which leaves us with a final pretty provocative thought to end our explainer today. We've seen that the Titanic prophecy was just an extrapolation of shipping data, right? And we've seen that the eerie lives of the Jim twins were just extrapolations of genetic data. So I have to ask you, are your life choices just biological extrapolations? When you choose a career or a partner, or even just what you're going to name your pet, are you really freely making a unique choice? Or is your brain simply running the algorithm of your own genetic and environmental determinism? It's a heavy thought for sure. But hey, that's exactly why we look at the data. Thank you so much for joining me today. Keep asking those big questions, keep looking at the evidence, and I will see you next time as we continue to explain the complexities of our incredible world.